Welcome back, one and all, to the LCS Challengers League. As we have a lot of fun in store for us today. We already done with our first best of 3. Now we get to get on to our second. I'm Mazel, I'm joined by Beatdown Boulevard yet again, and I feel like that first series was had a lot of fun moments. It wasn't too hard to go all the way, but this one's gonna be a lot of fun. We got Mirage Alliance versus LiT.
Yeah, and it's gonna be an exciting one. I mean, we have, again, that second matchup that you talked about. And this is an interesting one because you look at both these rosters. I mean, Mirage, for example, these group of pretty mostly experienced players. You look at Alora, Prismal, Dardoch, RJS. These are players who have been around the block. And then we have Will, who you so lovingly call our sweet summer child. Definitely the youngest player of the bunch, but one with definitely a lot of potential.
He is playing for the first time ever in spring for this league. It's
oh my god,
crazy.
You're right!
Yeah, he was talking to me the other day
how
much it actually meant to him to be here. Like, this is his moment to try to prove himself. I think him and RJS have some good combos coming. But I do want to go ahead and kick it over to the second team that we have, because it's LiT Esports. And I feel like a team, even though they don't have any pictures, a team that has proven some really interesting things in terms of drafts. The Garens, things like that really coming into fold.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of these players I'm kind of excited about, particularly Kizno, Messages, Rock Boom. These are all players who are a little newer, but have shown a lot of promise in one way or another. I mean, Kizno, I think now he's been playing competitive for a year only. He was so new during the first qualifiers in spring in 2023, and he's grown so much as a player going into this year as well. And Messages is also a little bit newer. He's been around the block a little bit. He's been on a number of teams, but he's also a pretty solid prospect in my opinion.
Yeah, I think Messages has had some really interesting moments in terms of his recent growth as well, but also curious to see if we just get like the Azir Corki matchup between Messages and RJS.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
Hey, it's a thing that happens, all right? But we're going to go ahead and dive into the draft here. And Mirage Alliance will be on the blue side this time, LiT on the red. And we are curious to see especially how these jungle matchups play. We have two extremely aggressive jungles. Where we had big brains, I feel like, last time around, and some of that aggression, I feel like we have a little bit of the same in this second matchup.
Yeah, and I think the interesting thing for me with Will is that he's a player who we saw had a lot of great mechanics when he first started playing. I believe it was Dignitas Academy a couple of years back now, 2021, something along those lines. And he even had that interview. 100 Thieves, thank you. I want to call it famous, but it's because it's my favorite interview, where he said, these people try to lock me down with this thing called jungle pathing, but I'm just going to play my own game. And I think that ended up reflecting in the fact that, I wanted to see him grow into a jungler who had an idea of where he needed to be to cover plays, to make plays. And I think from the limited sample size we've gotten this split, I think he has grown into that player, and I'm excited to see more from him in that regard.
The craziest thing is I was like the biggest seller of Will Copium, I feel like, last year, especially in summer, because it, for me, was always a situation where Will was finding like 10 plus kills on like the wreck size, things like that, and they just couldn't close games out. And it felt like this guy had such a good idea of how to play aggressively, but it's just about being one with the team, and that was always the conversation. And that's a big goal for him this year as well. Talking to him, he really wants to set a trend of not only can I play aggressively, but I very much want to try to mold that with the team. And I know another one of my favorite players, Shun for BLG over in the LPL, has molded a lot like that, right? He used to be a very aggressive jungler that would always get caught out, and you see that growth coming from him. First pick is the Varus, though, for Mirage Alliance.
This is just not a surprise. This is a champion we're going to see for quite a while until something substantial happens in future patches. Of course, we are live, currently on 14.2. I think we actually haven't mentioned that yet, where other leagues are still on 14.1, 14.1b, and things like that. So yeah, Varus, good champ. Azir, a good champ. A specialty of Messages as well. Some pretty crazy plays with it. Hold on. It's got to be locked in. Okay, Lennon, I'm going to leave this to you. Get excited.
That's him!
It's him?
That's him!
That's your guy.
Let's go! Rock Boom, you're my GOAT. All right, that's all I'm saying.
Rockboom, you just got yourself a fan for life. I'm very happy for you.
Oh, goodness gracious. We do end up getting the Jhin here, locked in with the Azir. An interesting combo. Utility coming from the Jhin, but that damage is going to have to be on the messages camp here. We do get the Vi, something that Jhin doesn't like seeing here.
Yeah, that's going to be my first thing as well. You got to imagine something like a Rumble maybe comes through just because the damage might be a little bit lacking, as you alluded to. Mazel, there are a couple options for Dragoon in the top lane. Someone who, I mean, you may have noticed the Darius ban. It's because he's got quite the champ pool and he's quite the Darius player. But there are still other things we could see from him in that regard, and it's just going to be about whether or not something like that gets picked now, or you just go end up matching the jungler, and it's looking like that's the angle. Hey, Maokai, it's good
Maokai's
here.
big.
It's great into Vi. She's jumping in. You can lock her up. That's just, you'll love to see it.
When you have something that can literally clear like an entire section of the map in front of an objective, I feel like it's a little good, especially with the utility backing that up in the Jhin. I'm very curious at how objective setups now look for the side of LiT Esports, but they have to round out their composition with some serious strength to back up, especially messages on the Azir. We're getting in the second phase now. We got the Poppy ban away. We'll see what the phase does have in store for Mirage Alliance as well.
Yeah, something Lorem is not afraid to play in the slightest, and I love this. We're getting the spicy top picks getting out of the picture. Olaf is another one Dragoon has been willing to play and has played in the past. And
Garen.
I'm wondering if we're going to see another tank banned away, just to kind of limit some of the options Alorum goes for, because again, we already talked about how you have more utility in the Jhin. A lot of pressure is going to be on messages if you go a tank top to really deal damage against them. And I think for that reason, I actually really like the Trundle takeaway, because again, you know, Alorum, this guy's crazy, man. He'll play anything.
He'll play anything.
And he'll do it
back
well.
the Urgot, man. Bring back the Alorum Urgot.
So fake, I promise.
It is not great. The Trundle, though, big block away. I think trying to look at the continued presence towards that top side is important, because I think both Dragoon and Alorum can have big influences here. J4 ban, actually really like that from Mirage Alliance, trying to take away some of the setup here, maybe force the Maokai into jungle instead of support, because Maokai's support with Jhin, the saplings, Charget, the Deadly Flourish, it's so easy.
Yeah, 100%. And okay, it's going to end up being that tank pickup on the top side there with the Cassante. I mean, when you're all outing, sure, you do a good amount of damage, but I think if we see more tankier members picked from Mirage, there might be a little bit of trouble as time goes on. But if that Bard gets locked in, then I mean, I guess it's fine, unless we see like a Malphite or something. A Malphite for Alorum, or some kind of big tank. I don't know, Scion, Ornn, something along those lines.
Give me the Orny Horny. I want to see it.
That would be cool.
I do find it interesting. We're getting the Dardark Bard, though. It typically can have some presence just because of the long range poke, and we get the Alorum Malphite. So we're going to still be cooking it up here on the top side of the map, it feels like, and now the Malphite into the Cassante matchup.
Yeah, and I think Rockboom at the moment is resisting the urge to throw his keyboard. Because, I mean, you're the Jhin player. How does that Malphite make you feel, Denzel?
I walk away from the computer. That's just saying.
You just dodge,
like,
no?
I'm out of here. I'm out of here 5,000. Yeah, it's not fun. Also, because it can all be set up with a beautiful Bard Tempered Fate. Like, that's the worst part. Like, Bard keeps up with Jhin so easily, and you have so much range of engage in that. So right now, we're looking at a composition that's curious to us, I feel like, for the side of LiT Esports, but a stalwart composition where the only question mark feels like maybe the two sides of it in the Malphite and the Bard.
I mean, I can tell you right now, mid and bot look so great for Mirage Alliance. I mean, Ori, you're going to get pushed. Double range bot lane, especially into like something like Jhin. You're going to get pushed. So this opens up Will for a lot of opportunity early game to be aggressive, like we talked about. He's the kind of player he's been since we started seeing him here in competitive in North America. And he has these opportunities to get aggressive, invade, dive, set up all these plays. And as time goes on, Alorum will be really hard to kill. He can just build... I mean, he just built Koenig Rooker, and Messages hates him. His mere existence makes Rockboom hate him. So it's going to be a little bit of pressure on LiT to get this game going early.
We got some delivery boys on Mirage Alliance. They're going to be delivering a shockwave straight to the hearts of LiT as we hit the rig for game number 1 of this one.
Expedited.
is Mirage Alliance versus LiT Esports, and both teams really wanted to come away with a win. Yet another pair of teams that are looking for their first series win in the split.
Yeah, because Mirage, of course, they did manage to get a win last week, but that was it. They couldn't actually get the series, and LiT haven't gotten really anything. Their first series, I was actually on there. It looked tough. This is another team who I think are trying to just figure out what their identity is, I think, in this particular meta, because this is a team where everyone who was here had qualified with them towards the end of last year. So it's just about figuring out what works for them right now on this patch and how they're going to be able to work together to get some of these wins, because it's been a rough start for them.
I'm stuck. I'm lost for words because I see that Rock Boom is equipping the special Jin skin, the one with the Dark Star one, but it's like the $200 one that gets that has like the special chroma on it.
Yeah.
I was so close to just giving Riot Games all of my money for that. But I'm happy to see he has some taste, okay? He has some taste. The best skin on Jin and also the chroma.
And maybe he's lucky, too. What if he just got it on his first roll? You ever think of
I know
that?
one of our friends did that.
Really?
Yeah. Good times. I'm not jealous.
No, not at all.
Check in, though, because we did have the mirrored starts, at least for both junglers, and I am curious if we see a little bit of a wraparound because of some of that spiciness that we will get. Actually, speaking of spice, nice little trade of damage between the two bot laners in there, and at least on the back end, a decent amount done by Prismo and Dardoch.
Right, you have the shrines too from the Bard that just make it even harder to get any meaningful health leads. Ever since they changed Bard so that he could have a reserve of them and he can have up to 2 stacked at any time, I definitely made this champion a lot more annoying to lane against. And it's even great because Dardoch could at some point just go mid. I don't know if you ever played mid Lennon, but a great feeling is when you have a Bard or Soraka on your team. They roam mid, the Soraka heals you a bunch after you take a trade, or the Bard just drops a bunch of chimes that are just chilling.
You just get that extra.
Yes.
I think also it's important to note that RJS has been a cornerstone for Mirage Alliance. It feels like he's had some heckin' performances. Even if we didn't see the wins, I feel like some of these moments have been really big, especially his Corki was really nuts. Yep. I want to see a continuation of that here for RJS, and that focus would be a kind result of that for Mirage Alliance.
He even had a pretty solid Victor game. I remember from the other day, I was watching back the VOD. He's, I guess, just what I'd call the creator of the Victor roam, because he roamed topside at one point and actually ended up getting a kill, which, you don't see with that champion very often, but it's nice that you're defying expectations.
Message is getting bullied here in the mid lane, trying to get some push back there, but RJS has definitely had his number all game long, getting those pushes going in, 10 CS differential as well, and it leads to Will having a lot of control around the jungle. Look at that vision from Mirage Alliance on the top side of the map.
Right, and this Maokai, who's usually really good at making some of these early plays, being able to set up camps and things like that, being able to track when his camps are up, when he's likely going to be on what side of the map, it just makes this early game that is so pivotal for LiT Esports that much harder for them to actually find success. Fox, on the other hand, he's got
looking for it. The flash plan RJS and the combo for messages. The flash comes out from RJS and he makes it out by the skin of his little teeth.
He actually caught RJS lacking, which surprised me a little bit. He just wasn't ready for that. And it ends up costing him his flash. I like plays like this in this particular matchup because even though in isolation, Orianna is very heavily favored, as we've seen for these last couple of minutes, what matters is if you get that flash down before level 6, now Messages has an opportunity to set up another play just with that Emperor's Divide, because RJS, he won't have an option to actually flash it for the next couple of minutes. Means that once Messages ticks over to level 6, RJS is going to have to play very respectful, and that pressure mid that he's had for these last 5 minutes won't be there for a while.
Something to think about for sure. Will going ahead and getting the trade started here. Trade deal accepted. It will be the Dragon for the start of those Grubbies. And I think this is the first time we've seen a solid timed trade. I think a lot of times today we've seen a little bit of a delay in that aspect, but showing both teams trying to play towards the tempo.
I think because this time, the bot side, there's a clear winning bot side 3v3. That's the difference maker. In the first 2 games, there was someone who was favored, but it wasn't necessarily guaranteed. But this time around, like, you just easily win it as Mirage. So you get the consolation prize of the first 3 grubs. Now Kizno is getting some vision down on the top side as well, just to see if they can catch Will cross it.
Ooh, nice little combo. Deadly Flourish comes on the back of that one. Some shots going there. 4th shot available for Rockboom. Good, nice trade, but that piercing arrow so close to getting Flux.
It's just another great trade, and this is just what Flux is going to have to go through in this early game. But once you get level 6, once you get that support item built up and ready to go, then you at least will be able to survive a little longer in some of these team fights. And once you get that first rotation of spells off, that's a lot of your value right then and there.
It is. I think moving forward, definitely an aspect of the game that can be at least crucial. I think now with the weird game state that we have with the kind of split of the grubs for the dragon, for me it's always a conversation of, do we see the opposite the next time around, right? Because a big proponent is trying to deny the grub stacking there, and so taking those first 3 definitely switches hands a little bit more. But I also have seen teams that are willing to give those up, right? And we saw that a lot last night in the LPL, but it's not something that ever worked out for the side that gave up all the grubs. I'm just saying that.
Yeah, there are definitely some instances where if you have sole side laners that are able to hit turrets, get prio, and things like that, then getting 6 grubs can actually be pretty impactful. The moments like that are few and far between, though. That's why you see teams who get Dragon Prio just go ahead and drop the first 3 grubs, and then they can go ahead and take like 2 or 3 when the next ones come around. Because by that point, Mirage Alliance will be happy to go for a skirmish on the top side as well. And Alorum will have that that ultimate there for the Malphite. The Unstoppable Force.
The Unstoppable Force.
Yeah, and that's just a great teamfight tool. I don't think I need to explain why to anybody. It's really good.
Now the real question is do you know what his Q is called?
No. I don't know any of Malphite's abilities except
him and Talia. Okay, so choose which one is Malphite's, the seismic toss or the seismic shove?
The seismic shove is Talia.
There you go. Good job.
Nice try. I had you.
Let's go. Look at that. No, it's really interesting, though. I think Alorum is going to have to be a big proponent of the engages for Mirage Alliance, but we are seeing the rightful focus around the 2 carries in RJS and a little bit Prismal, I feel like, coming up soon. We have a lot of pods down towards this bot side. It's Prismal in a little bit of that focus. Yep. Fleur is going to connect, but there's that Tempered Fade, and it sets up everyone to try to get onto Flux. Chains of Corruption goes a little bit wide, doesn't matter. Darduck's the one with first blood. RJS getting traded down in the mid lane, though, walking away from the trees, and he gets Bramble smashed back. Kizno gets that one.
And that's that punish we were looking for. RJS's flash didn't quite come back, so it ended up being a nice response for LiT Esports. It is tough, though, because bot lane is a really difficult... Oh, hold on.
Ooh, Dragoon gets the flash out of Alorum.
You just got to respect it. Alorum's low mana, too, so I don't think there's a real threat of that Unstoppable Force coming through. But overall, you see both of these teams, it took a while for the first blood to come through, but now they're starting to go blow for blow. The problem is, though, that bot lane being so much in favor of Mirage, especially with that kill going through, means the Drake stacking is just going to continue being easy breezy for Mirage Alliance.
Actually, see, Plux was on the roam there. We'll end up seeing the control ward, but we have the timer starting to come up. Under a minute for these respawns of the objectives. And we can already see maybe some of that trading that we were talking about going down as Mirage Alliance go ahead and start those grubs.
Yeah, see, you take 2, maybe you could take all 3 because you rotated your support. And Dardock got there before Plux, so it's just really easy for you to get this one. And it means that the 3 that LiT have, it doesn't really matter.
Prismal. Depth charge in, deadly flourish on top of it. Fourth shot coming out. One more auto. He's got to reload. He can't reload fast enough.
Oh my god! Oh
that
my
was
god!
way too close. Prismal goes down.
No, but Prismal was almost the GOAT there for a second. That would have been absolutely filthy disgusting. And I had a whole thing about how, wow, I really respect that Prismal didn't blow his flash there. But he ended up using it. But I like this better. He didn't use it to run away, Lennon. He used it to make a play.
He realizes Jin is just stuck there trying to put the ammo in the gun. Like, oh my god, I can't do it. Tip for Faith, though. Speaking of putting the ammo in the gun, it's going to be a nice Emperor's Divide back at Dardoch taking the turrets, and we have a pause. As I do believe this is going to be one of the most chaotic pauses I've ever seen. In the middle of Dardoch almost going down, there's something going on.
It's fine. I mean, Dardoch's going to die. I'm pretty sure that turret shot is already, like, on its way. But overall, I like that they're continuously looking for plays with this Tempered Fate. It's usually really good against champs like Jin, with lower mobility and stuff like that, but if you catch an Azir lacking too, he also won't have the opportunity to dash to safety with those shifting sands. So I like that they are just continuously pressuring. I'm pretty sure he also had to flash in that scenario, so that's another thing you can punish later on.
I do like the looks from Mirage Alliance, at least trying to go for something there as well.
Yeah.
I did get an update. We have a pause because messages is lagging. Should be getting back into the game here shortly. The issue with playing remote, obviously. We're always going to have some of these issues, but
damn internet.
It's just, damn internet. What we would do. But I think when we look at the state of the game right now, we are getting more of that chaotic style, I feel like. And we are starting to see, I feel like, some of the benefits of having a more standardized comp so far from Mirage Alliance, while we've seen some moments, at least from LiT Esports, with their a little bit more unique style of the Jin bot lane.
Yeah, I think I'm glad that LiT are going blow for blow and actually trying to make plays, trying to find kills, because I think that's really important in this game. Like, time goes on, you're going to have a pretty tough time trying to actually secure kills, win fights, and things like that, because you have this Varus that is like the premier AD carry at the moment. And you're already seeing examples of how Prismal lost he had this much health. And while Jin was reloading, he almost killed him. In a 2v1, you know what I mean? Just things like that. And that kind of damage advantage.
You don't need to bring that up.
I mean, I'm sorry, Lennon. I really do. Because that's just the tip of the iceberg.
That's how Jin works, all right? Later. Whatever. We're getting back into game now. So I get to get out of this conversation.
You can't hide from the truth, Lennon.
I can. We're going to get a replay of that action in mid lane here as Dardoch will end up flashing out alive. You were wrong. Will takes that extra tower shot, and Messages makes it out alive. That was a play that Mirage Alliance wanted.
Wow, that was also the most, I don't even know, generous barge stun I've ever seen onto Kizno. But, a big deal there. Dardoch does get to walk away, so you get Messages flash, you get his ult, and it's right before this dragon. So LiT are starting this, but this is pretty illegal.
All that curtain, there's the Nature's Grasp. Everybody connecting onto Prismal here. The fourth shot does him in, but it means that Messages got caught in transition there. Yeah,
that's pretty tough there for Prismal. Ends up getting owned by the Maokai ultimate.
By who?
There. By the Maokai.
Was it Maokai?
Yeah, it was.
You know, I feel like there was somebody else there that was shooting
shots. Din, you're right. The guy who was spoon-fed the kill by his teammates. You're so right,
I mean, it's a skill shot beatdown. I'm just saying.
Is it a skill shot if they're standing perfectly still?
Yes. It's still technically a skill shot. Meanwhile, Will getting out with his skill shot. I'm not dropping this, okay?
All right, no. I'll acquiesce. You're right. It is still technically a skill shot. So respect to Rockboom for making it happen. We're going to look again at the play that took out Messages in the first place. This is while Prismal was dying on the bot side. And even though it was a nice catch out, because no flash, no ult for Messages, it's still not as valuable as taking out Prismal, who has so much DPS for Mirage Alliance. That's what allowed LiT to get this Drake. And even though I'm sure Mirage, are in a pretty decent position to keep Drake stacking, now that really early soul that they were pretty much on track for isn't going to happen.
It was a little bit rough. Actually, we had the all-out angle.
Oh, hey!
Allure straight to Kizdo, who follows him through the unstoppable force, and that's why you gotta watch the trees as Allure gets knocked back. Q3 seals the deal, and Dragoon just playing with his food as he serves him up on a silver platter.
I'm pretty sure he was waiting for messages to try and get the kill, which is pretty funny. I like that decision because they just had full control over Alorum there. They can kill him whenever they want to. So that is a really nice play from Dragoon coming through here. And Alorum being forced to use his ultimate to try and live in these situations is a wonderful thing for LiT. If this is a thing they can keep forcing before objectives or during objective fights, I think that's going to be a great thing for LiT. So that's one big CC tool that's not available.
So I will say there's something in here that we haven't seen built necessarily too often. I know we got it earlier on when we had the Orianna, but Caster's Companion coming in. Meanwhile, Prismal just getting engaged on. Meanwhile, the Chains of Corruption coming in so clutch, and a nice little magical journey gets Mirage Alliance out of there.
A little dangerous, a little touch and go for a moment, but everything is back to normal. Ignore that message you just saw. It's not important. It doesn't matter. Anyways, it is a big deal that Rockboom and Flux are getting some of these answers back in what is supposed to be an overwhelmingly painful bot lane to deal with. So that does bode well for Dragons coming up in the future if they can set up plays like that and catch out Prismal, who, sometimes he's overstepping a little bit. Just a little bit.
That's the benefit of this composition, though. That's what we talked about in the draft a little bit more, is they do have a really strong length of engage and area of engage, right? The Deadly Flourish pairs so well with a lot of these combos just to lock down the kill. Speaking of locking down, we're going to see it happen. Here it goes. Oh, here he is. It's scary. He's a mad Cassante, but it won't actually be.
But, again, you force the flash from RJS as the Orianna. It does mean you are vulnerable. And because of that, because he's forced out, LiT get that fast track to the Rift Herald. But I think we got a 5v5 brewing here, Lennon. Everybody's got ultimates. Most people have all their summoners. Prismal doesn't seem to care.
Mirage Alliance look to be pulling off of this one. I was going to set up, the big thing we highlighted for Mirage Alliance, they have good single target access. They have good decision-making tools to lock down a member. The curtain call comes out to slow things down a little bit. We'll go ahead and use that forward shot, just going wide, and LiT make it away with that Rift Herald.
So, hold on.
Okay, on the back end. Oh, they baited him! Messages was the real target all along, and Mirage Alliance pounce on him. It might have been an overextension, though. That's a really big Chains of Corruption connecting onto multiple members. Dragoon dashing out the double knock up there, too. Dragoon, he's looking for more, but he's looking at a death right now. And RJS claims the kill. Mirage Alliance starting to work away as the gold lead is dead even.
And I love that snap engage we saw right onto messages. He just had no time to react, and as soon as that first CC hit, he was stun locked until he hit the gray screen. We're going to see it again in the replay. I really like this move to not fight for the Rift Herald, just get the guaranteed gold with the turret, and they get to walk away. But this is a very experienced team, too. They've been around the block lane, and they see these angles. So even though it looked like Dragoon was the play, it was to relax messages into not flashing in time for this.
It's literally, I feel like a play we would see in a traditional sport or of some sort, right? It's just the fadeaway bait and switch. Like, it's Will having a really good game sense of how he wanted to approach that fight, and the communication was on point, literally both connecting him and Alorum at the exact same time. Now we see in mid lane, the play is continuing. Prismal and Dardoch have stepped way too far forward. They have the magical journey, but he can't get to it as he finally gets through. He flashed for that, and he'll still go down.
Ah, man, this is really bad. And again, Prismal gets caught out. A little overextended there. And there's just no opportunity now for Mirage Alliance to actually set up for this Dragon. I mean, with Will being around this top side, maybe this is what they wanted all along.
That was the shockwave. I think they actually just take down Dragoon here. He's going to all out away from the fight. Dardoch does not fall.
We almost had a Cassante moment there, but it ends up being a successful dive. You force out the teleport from messages, but LiT, they still get something in return. They still come out ahead here. With that Herald, it is going to be that mid-tier 1 broken. And they still maintain this gold lead of about 1,400, even though we talked about how... Oh, hold on.
Messages!
Okay.
Nice little move, but the flashes immediately follow. They cannot come away with this without a kill, and they'll give it straight to RJS, who goes on a killing spree. It will be second dragon secured by LiT during this, but a beautiful trade across the map.
And it seems that Mirage just kind of going for these dragons, foregoing dragon stacking, at least early on. They're just picking up gold. They're just picking up kills. And you see it's working. They've reduced that 1,500 gold lead that LiT had to nothing. And we've seen examples.
Like that all game.
Yeah, we've seen examples of how good Mirage's 5v5 can be. You're easily able to focus down someone like Messages, who, when we talk about DPS, it's all Messages this game. You actually were the one to point it out in Champ Select, Lennon. Just the fact that because Jhin, a little more utility, means that a lot of the damage in these long team fights is going to be on Messages' shoulders. And if he dies instantly, before he can attack, cast spells, ults, things like that, LiT are in trouble.
They are indeed. I think the biggest factor needs to be not getting caught in side lane.
Yeah.
And I think we've seen it happening a couple times, so it's just about learning positioning across the map. I do like this lean-to that LiT is setting up of this top side of the map. They do have a lot of that range we were talking about, so trying to get that in the best advantageous position you can is the most important part. The side lane turrets are finally going to go down, though. That's the last remaining outer tower. We do have positioning, though, from LiT to try to reset here, it looks like.
Yeah, and I like that Will has just been continuously hovering RJS. Like, I mean, this is the best play you have in terms of 2v2s, 2v1s, and things like that. Making a play onto Messages. So they get this bot wave pushed in deep. They see if Messages has learned his lesson yet. It seems like this time around he has. But keep your eye out for pretty much that exact same play in these next couple of minutes as well.
We do have the Baron spawning, but neither team, at least right now, can go ahead and burn that. I think the biggest thing you're waiting for is Messages, at least for LiT to get any far ahead. I feel like Prismal, obviously the attack speed build is going to be a little while till it gets really online.
Yeah.
But until then, I feel like it favors Mirage Alliance to find these picks, right? They have the buy for a reason. It was let through. You can get some insane picks on the down tempo of these moments.
And right now, Mirage, I don't think there's actually a play here. They're just trying to make space, get this mid-wave pushed, and get some actual vision cleared up by the Baron. Because right now, LiT, you can see they actually have some pretty deep vision into Mirage Alliance's jungle. They have a ward on the Baron. All this needs to be cleared out by Mirage, but they actually don't have the opportunity now to make it happen. Because you have Prismal, he wants to recall. Maybe he has that second item ready to go. But LiT are actually on a pretty solid spot on the map, especially with this dragon coming up in 2 minutes, their sole point.
It would be really big for a Mountain Soul too, just giving them those extra tanky stats, actually. I do want to check in, though. We are finally getting like full second items completed here for a majority of members. We also got the Collector now completed for Rock Boom, the Gwynsu's there for Prismal. So you'll have a little bit more in the tank here, but really still waiting on Messages to complete that second item too.
Yeah, that's the tough one. I mean, he's been the focus of so many plays this game by Mirage Alliance. And again, we talked about it, rightly so, because of how much damage he poses, or rather how much of a damage threat he poses to Mirage in team fights. Right now, though, and things have slowed back down. We're a minute 30 till this next Drake, so there's a decent chance that Messages will be able to finish the second item in time. And you can see Mirage have actually set up their vision pretty well on the top side. There's like one pink ward in a pretty crucial spot that they've missed, but it's enough for them to feel comfortable doing this invading, pushing this mid wave, and actually focusing on this bottom side to try and deny the soul point.
Yeah, you just got to try to get ahead of the ball, it feels like, but they are going to slack pressure over here and let LiT come in to try to get some of this vision done. And it might be so. Yeah, I was going to say Mirage Alliance were walking up, but they realize there's nothing up there to play against, so they're going to try to collapse over mid lane once LiT comes back to push this one.
It's an interesting decision. I think the play is this.
Oh, they found him outside of his
He's
sun
gone.
And there's no protection for the Emperor. Unstoppable will not be stopped by the Tempered Fate. And Mirage Alliance took a scrappy fight. They got to be a little careful. Rock Boom's got a 4th shot, and he eliminates Will. Meanwhile, the double knockup, Deadly Flourish coming in. Lit's actually looking pretty lit right now, but Prismal's been firing away this whole time. Prismal with the flash, Prismal with the plays. He gets Casante'd on. And guess who's alive and well? It's LiT Esports, baby. And Rock Boom comes up unstoppable on the Jhin.
And the tanks come in big here for LiT. And the fact is, they got messages blown up, but they didn't have enough in the tank for Rock Boom, even though he doesn't do the most amount of damage to Alorum because he's building lethality against the Malphite. At the end of the day, the rest of the team are still decently squishy letted, and he was able to output tons of damage in that last fight.
Can only Unstoppable force 1 target, and that will leave the other open. And Rock Boom taking full advantage of that. Doubt my boy Jhin again! Let me hear it! All right, 5-0 start with a lot of help from the team, but it is looking really good as this was a play for Mirage Alliance to start it off.
And you can see it. That is 2 ult, or rather just the 1 ult used, to be fair. Will ends up using his ult, that cease and desist, onto Rock Boom. And I think this is where the fight started to fall apart. He kind of jumped the gun a little bit. If the rest of the team was with him, if one other person was able to pressure Rock Boom, this is a very different fight. And that mistake ends up costing them big time. And when Rock Boom, again, if he's autoing someone that's not Alorum, he's able to do so much work, and that's how he ends up going unstoppable.
Dopamine rush of those 4th shots really coming alive for Rock Boom here and LiT. Again, both teams really looking for their first series win of the split all the way in week number 3, but it's not going to be one without a contest. We've had a knockout, drag-out fight here so far, 24.5 minutes in, and it ain't stopping anytime soon as Baron gets started up by Mirage Alliance.
They do this one decently quickly. Prismal's 2 items and change, but you got to imagine they are playing for the turn. They have so much engage, and you don't want LiT to just walk into you for free.
More doms complete for Rock Boom.
Yeah, that is another big spike coming through for the Jhin, but it looks like they just wanted to bait the teleport. So pretty good use of that priority over the Baron they had. And now we'll see if they're going to be able to do it again. Maybe you catch messages on the bottom side of the map, and you won't be able to answer.
Oh, he's got the magical journey out of there. There was no damage done, so the Deadly Flourish will not connect to that route. But LiT were looking for it, and they don't find it.
Not yet, but they have so much big potential. Like you had mentioned, Lennon, they're going to go ahead and take the blue buff as well. From Mirage's side of the jungle, it's looking like everyone's just going to go back to Fates at this point here. You have vision. You've basically pushed your line forward, and it just means that LiT can go ahead and spend whatever gold they want, start focusing on getting some priority bot side, because we're 3 minutes away. But this next dragon is so important for them, Lennon. It is that Mountain Soul.
And it's also important for Mirage Alliance to try to deny that. Again, you're already having some issues dealing with the front line. Dragoon has felt like just a menace this entire time, but you have a pretty stalwart front line from LiT, and you really don't want to give over the soul, let alone a 3rd Mountain Dragon itself in a row, right? That's just a lot of stats going through. So now we're trying to position a way for Mirage Alliance to get into these fights, find a way in, and it comes from that length of engage we've highlighted over and over again. The problem is they've got to either make sure it's a big wombo combo or that they can escape cleanly afterwards, because we've seen some of that miscommunication come to bear.
Right, and at this point too, even though they've done a great job of knocking messages out of pretty much every fight, I don't want to see his damage numbers this game. They'd probably be super depressing. They haven't been able to follow up and take Rock Boom out of the picture as well. So those last couple of fights, you got to imagine they're talking about it from the side of Mirage, trying to figure out what to do next. Again, this is a very experienced roster. When you look at Will being the newest player, and even he's been around the block for a couple of years now too. So you got to imagine in these situations, they're able to keep it cool and form a plan.
Mirage Alliance playing pretty hesitantly around the Baron. Actually, Will thinking they might be doing the Baron, and that's the scary part about LiT, especially messages. He will have a lot of speed in taking that even at the 0-4 scoreline. It looks like Mirage Alliance are the ones to try to pull the trigger here, and LiT's going to have to respond.
It might just be get the teleport out of...
flank.
Oh, do they even know that he's there? Maybe they're just going to go ahead and
flank.
force this.
They got the blue ward here. The engage just comes through. Mirage Alliance, you've got to turn. You've got to do something. Dardock's just gone. Curtain Call comes out.
They got it.
It goes over to Mirage Alliance. But how many bodies can they get out of this body bag? The Emperor's Divide comes through. Prismal's gone. Alorum's going to dash over the wall with his unstoppable force, and the quick backs will end up getting both of them out of there. They are losing their mid lane. They will get 3 Baron buffs out.
Lennon, in so many situations, I would tell you, in this kind of thing, in this kind of gold deficit, worth. We take those 2 for Baron. That's a big injection of gold. It's a Baron buff that you can use. You love to see it. But this is not one of those situations because now, look at what we got on the clock. 20 seconds till the Mountain Soul for LiT. We still have 15 seconds before Prismal even hits the map. You lost your mid-tier 2 in the process as well. You don't have any space on the map.
Oh! RJS, he's got flash. Gonna have to use it to get out of this one.
Oh no!
As they dash, flash, and the escapades keep going. Dragoon, he can't get it. The Q3's not enough. Now the response from Alorum and Dardock. They get some AoE damage, some slowing there onto them. The Tempered Fate does end up connecting. Dragoon, he has no flash, he has no way out but the Cassante dash. RJS with the TP behind too. Plux in some trouble. LiT falling apart at the seams.
Look at RJS, look at RJS.
Big. Meanwhile, Will's chasing down Plux. RJS going into the pit. The Nature's Grasp has been used. And we got chaos everywhere. Will's not even in the pit. He's just killing Plux. The Dragon goes to Rock Boom because 4 and Mirage Alliance are looking at a very scrappy game.
I really don't like that Will was going for the Nautilus kill there. There was clearly so much time.
Bro, come at Jin again.
Even if he didn't know, to be able to try and go for the flip, but now Mountain Soul is theirs.
Oh, Laura misses the Unstoppable Force. That feels real bad, but they do make it out alive.
That is still something to be happy about for the side of LiT, but man, they got the big buff Lennon. And even though they're not really that far ahead in gold, even they're actually down just about 1,000, the fact that, look at the tank items we're seeing on Dragoon, on Kisno, even Plux, benefiting from the bonus resistances you get from 3 Mountain Dragons. And of course, the shield that you get from picking up the soul as well. So now LiT are in a really strong position to 5v5, and you got to imagine that big fight is going to be around the Baron coming up in a couple of minutes here. Mirage's only hope is if they stall the game long enough and win the Elder Coin Toss.
We're getting some of those utility things coming out. The Terminus has been completed for Prismal. He also got the Seeker's Arm Guard. We have that Seeker's Arm Guard for messages as well. So a lot of utility things coming out because these next fights will be doozies. Yes, we have a long timer for it, but about 4.5 minutes. That's the end-all be-all, striking at midnight there.
Right, again, that's another thing that's so nice about champs like Varus, and I'm sure we'll see like Ezreal soon. They can build the Zhonya's Hourglass, which means they get access to that stasis, which other marksmen do not.
They were trying to stop that from happening this year. It didn't happen.
You know, it mostly did happen, to be fair.
We're back, baby. Dragoon?
I don't like that. I hope they don't do that. Okay, there we go. This Cassante is so tanky. It's just grief if we attack him.
It is a little bit rough. We all have seen the copy passes. They are going to try to push this tier 2 in the top side of the map. And right now, Mirage Alliance positioning very heavily around mid lane, try to get priority there. It could find a catch out. I mean, LiT is pretty split here in all 5 members of Mirage Alliance, but that gap is closing quickly.
Yeah, and at least now that Prismal has the Terminus, he might be in an okay spot to fight. He does have the pen as long as he keeps auto-attacking, and it does give him that little bit of extra tankiness as well. There's actually a wave mid, so the members of LiT need to recall.
This is
as
so
mid tier
awkward.
3 is just going to go down. It is a little awkward, actually. The waves end up being in a really good spot because Alorum can just tank the rest of this turret, and even that bot tier 2 is under threat. Mirage Alliance actually managed to get a lot of gold in the process. This is, this is odd.
Proxying their mid lanes, I guess.
Pretty much.
I think Mirage Alliance comes out the better of that one, though. They will get a responded tier 2 tower, though. But Mirage Alliance took an inhib in mid and another tier 2 here if they can whittle it down a little bit more. Looks like they will back off.
Yeah, they don't want to take the chance. I think that ends up being the right call.
Kisno coming over. TT
they don't
coming
have a
in for
choice.
messages as well. You got Deadly Flourish waiting to be used here. Dardoch is getting caught out. Mirage Alliance, they got to be real careful. They're looking to turn now. Some attack speed really coming to bear on the Dragoon. Will is working on the back. He does have that cease and desist to go ahead and pull the trigger. There's the temper fate. This is the moment. Mirage Alliance are looking for it. Deadly Flare is going to go wide. Big shockwave there, but it didn't get anybody. Emperor's Divide right back. And the difference maker is messages. The big combos coming through. The cease and desist finally used, but Will is dashed down. Prismal's still firing. Prismal's the only hope here. He's got that attack speed. He's got that damage. He's him. Himothy, if you will, as RJS is coming forward. He's still got some damage here, too. Prismal's looking good, and the rest of Mirage Alliance streaming forward. Take another one. And Prismal's on fire here as it's Kisno getting run down. Give him another one. That's a triple kill. He's not going to find the Quadra, but this is the end of the game. Beat down.
It just might be. Rockboom does do a lot of damage. You got some low members, too. No
huge
real
wave,
CC
and
to lock
that's
him
a
down.
Jin. You literally cannot clear it.
Oh, wait a minute. This could be really clutch.
Fourth shot, gets him 2 down. Tower's going down. Big clutch moment from Rockboom, saving the Nexus with his shots, and that's Mirage Alliance walking away.
Yeah, big clutch, but also amazing angle there for Mirage Alliance. I mean, that whole fight, my eyes were on Prismal just to make sure that, just to see if he gets caught by Flux, by Kisno. Messages, so many people who are looking to take him out of the picture. And because he got that stasis from the Seeker's arm guard, now he's completed the Zanyas. He has it again for this Elder Dragon fight that's coming. The timer says a minute.
Right now.
But I see the icon on the map, so I'm going to go with the mini-map. And that's actually pretty tough because, I mean, Prismal's 10 seconds out. They don't take this very quickly, but I lied. Messages is here. It's fine. I lied.
They do, indeed. It is nothing really going the way of Mirage Alliance on the other side of the map. They're trying to catch at least Dragoon over there. Really can't do anything about it. And Baron wasn't even started up. Elder Dragon available for LiT now. A lot going the way of LiT, and we're dead even yet again 35 minutes in.
Yeah, the only real play you have is getting this Baron, which would be so helpful for Mirage to prevent LiT from ending the game, realistically. That's the big concern there, because you have the Baroned up minions. It's going to make it really hard for LiT to actually go for a siege. The question is, can they get it done and get away with it? Dragoon is here.
All 5 blocked up here. Will be making it out. The curtain call comes through as the Rally Cry Baron buff is the prize that they've stolen away. And yeah, just the magical journey diff there. They will be getting pushed in the mid lane. It's still something where the Baron not going to help you as much in a fight as an Elder Dragon. I think LiT know that.
Yeah, it's just the fact that they got out is good for them, though, because now LiT are just going to recall. They know that it's going to be really hard to siege this mid-tier 3 because they're going to be dealing with Varus is good wave player, Aurea is pretty good wave player, and you have Baroned up minions on your side too. So you just back off, see what angle you could fight for, and Mirage, it was some quick thinking there to just force that because that's pretty much what saved this game from ending.
I do want to do a check-in because I'm sure we'll be getting a fight even though all the objectives are taken over very shortly. We have full build for Rockboom. We are still just pieces off from multiple members.
Oh, we don't get the check-in.
And we don't get to keep that going because Rockboom now looking for it. This is not where you can get caught out with Mirage Alliance. They have the Elder Dragon. You cannot fight the execution that's coming down. And Alorum and Dardoch just have to head for the hills, give up their lives here. The all-out comes through and Dardoch's gone. That's a big piece for them. And LiT's pushing right up the middle.
Right, that is a really big pick. It's big of Flux to cancel his recall because that's really where the angle came from. Where they were going back to base, Mirage thought they were going back to base. But instead, it ended up being the perfect setup. It's still going to be a little hard to take this turret. I lied. They're just going to go ahead and walk it.
I mean, RJS does have that shield there, but the inhib traded right back. And they have so much strength here for a little bit longer. Here comes the curtain call yet again. Missed that 4th shot, but the engage there. Nice little re-engage from Will to deny them RJS access. The execute still kicking, though. The wings of the dragon flapping in the distance, but LiT are going to go right back in onto Will. U3's trying to get charged up, but not going to find it. And this is a tense game beatdown.
We're still a minute on this buff. I just don't want to see Will. Don't ult. Will, you're making me nervous.
They're going in. Messages! He gets the huge Emperor's Divide.
Oh my God!
Tempered Fate, but doesn't matter. Rock
Watch
Boom is
Prismo.
untouched.
Watch Prismo.
The Elder Dragon has fallen, so Mirage Alliance have a skin in the game now. Rock Boom's still untouched. Rock Boom's still going. That's
Prismo's still in it.
And a half. Prismo's still going. Rock Boom versus the world right now, and he's got the damage. Mirage Alliance know it. There's one. Give him the 4. Give him the Deadly Flourish, and give him another one. Rock Boom is smurfing all over Mirage Alliance.
It is just marksman v marksman this game. Both of these players have had such huge team fight moments, and now it's going to be about Rock Boom. Can he end the game?
Jin. Come on, let's go, baby. Get him.
Oh my
Prismo's going
God.
down. It's a trade. Oh, he has the GA, though. That's the difference maker.
He just ends
that's
the game,
and that's LiT Esports taking that game 1 of this series. Slowly but surely, but the curtain falls, and LiT does a bow as they go up 1-0 in this best of 3.
Oh my God, Lennon, I never thought I'd see marksman v marksman to end the game, but props to Rock Boom. He made it happen on your favorite champion, no less, but where do I even start with this game? It's just so back and forth. Even that moment towards the end where we're proxying each other's mid lanes, we were this close. We were this close to Mirage just walking it in there maybe 7 minutes before this happened.
We're going to take a look back at that last fight because it was incredible. I'm going to go ahead and bring up the replay. Big difference makers. Keep an eye on both Prismo and Rock Boom.
Yeah, I think what almost saved the game here for Mirage was the Tempered Fate from Dardoch, because this, I had won a lot of the ult value that LiT had didn't really end up coming through. There was a big shuffle from messages, but what it really came down to was carry v carry, because the stasis came through from Prismo, and he was just doing so much damage. But unfortunately, the health wasn't in his favor. Rock Boom was untouched the whole fight. Yeah. He's almost full health, and he still had a GA to work with here. And this is what's exciting about a player like Rock Boom. We've seen some insane carry performances from him. The first time we saw him last year during the promotion tournament, he had a Vayne game. Do you remember that, Lennon? And he kind of 1v9. And he had that exact scenario today, where this time it was on Jin, and he had an insane 1v9 performance.
Everybody always trash talks the Jin, say he's worthless, but that means that you're not thinking about him in the fights because you feel like he's not going to be the difference maker. When you leave him untouched, he will be the difference maker. Shout outs to Rock Boom for making it work, and shout outs to LiT for their first win here of the series. We're going to take away a little break, and we'll be back for game 2.
Introducing the new foot-long sidekicks at Subway. Try the warm and delicious foot-long cookie, foot-long pretzel, or foot-long churro.